to her workshop where we're going to be making a Valentine's Day card that lights up with circuits. You are going to need a design idea, some paper, some scissors, copper tape, gumdrop LED light or lights, some glue, some scotch tape, and some patience with yourself. Our helpers today are Miss Molly, my lovely Sophie, and AJ, you will see his hand and sometimes him. It's Valentine's Day coming up, and I was trying to brainstorm how I could make this the perfect card. And of course, I thought of the perfect couple, the most perfect couple in the whole world. And I thought of how Morticia is often lit up by the eyes. And I was like, well, there we go. Now I know what my card is going to be based on. I need Morticia Addams. And I wanted to at first draw her, and then I realized I'm not that artistic. So then I found just a simple black illustration. Ooh, perfect with that checkered background, which means I could use it on a Cricut machine, which my work thankfully has and I can use. Now this is not a Cricut tutorial. This is merely me using the Cricut as an accessory to make my design. Here's where I freak out, because I don't know how to use it. And that's when I get Miss Molly to come and help me. Here she is to the rescue. Now she helps me figure out how to add this to the Cricut application on the computer, cut it out, and make sure the computer's able to cut it out. So then I got the board ready, put the paper on the sticky board, smoothed out the whole thing, got very intimidated by the entire process, asked for help on every step of the way. You load it, and sometimes it doesn't load properly, but we got it to work. This is where I double checked it, and I realized the settings weren't right, and here's where we put the settings to the correct one, which was cardstock rather than vinyl. Very cool. I cut out two just in case I would mess up, and I was very likely to mess up, but I actually didn't. I only needed one of them, and I think I'm going to use the other one to make another card for my mother. My idea is that I put her on white paper, and then I'll put the card itself in a sheet of red cardstock. And then the circuitry will be behind this white paper, but on top of the red paper. I really, really wanted it to light up her eyes. I used this intense glue that we had lying around because we didn't have regular Elmer's glue. Elmer's glue is going to work just fine. I just have this intense glue that we couldn't, like, it glued the top part open, so I had to use a paintbrush. So I used a paintbrush I didn't care about, so that way I could just throw it away and not worry about it ever again. That part is where I did detail work and my head covered up the shot. I tried so hard to get her little pieces of her nostrils, and then I gave up, and later I will just draw them in. So here's where you need the copper tape. And you need that little circular light. I don't remember what it's called. I'll put it up here in the screen. And then you need a little gumdrop light. Now, of course, for Morticia and her light, we just need the white one. So I'm going to put all those pretty colored ones back in there, and we'll figure out something to do with those later. Then I spent so much time trying to figure out the logistics of it. So that's what I want. Now I've got to make the pathway to make it actually happen. So I tried to mark where the light in her eyes would go, and then I tried to do a little map of what I wanted. But I have to be able to push in the right spot. That's why I'm thinking so hard here about how I didn't pay enough attention on that episode of Magical School Bus where they learned about electricity and the negatives and the positive. And even though I've watched like 5 videos about making this card and I sat in a 2-hour-long class where we talked about making this card, I still just don't get it. So we're just gonna try our best. And I think I've got it. I will at one point get my positives and my negatives mixed up, and that's okay, because the light will tell you whether you're doing it right or wrong. And then I put the negative side there. I am going to use tape, which I thought I put in this drawer.
Okay, sure.
Very talented at using things. And we only do tape on part of it, otherwise the whole point of it being a battery doesn't work. So I'm gonna put it right there. I would later move this tape. Okay, where'd my little light go? There it is. The short side is the negative, probably. Let's try it. What's the worst that could happen? Remember, when you fold the line of tape, you do have to curve it away from where you want to point it and then fold it over back to where you want to point it. Otherwise, the sticky part of the tape will not work, and it makes sure you have like a clear line of conduity. You will conduct electricity. Now here's the part where I recognize that I have it in the wrong direction, and it's gonna take me some time to figure out. What does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't know. That's what. that is how the doctor fixes stuff. He always reduces the polarity of the neutrino flow. Yeah, that's what it is.
So now I'm reinforcing everything because I don't trust myself. I'm making a spring because I feel like that's going to help me. It doesn't really end up helping me, but I want to be able to press down on somewhere on the page with Morticia on it. And I thought the spring would help, but the spring was too springy. So I played around a lot with it, added more copper tape wherever I thought it might miss the light, miss the connection. And then it starts to work, which is very thrilling. I learned that if I put a piece of Scotch tape over the gumdrop light, it kind of dispersed the light a little bit more, which was very exciting. I think you could do the same effect with parchment paper. Then, once you feel confident in your ability to make a circuit actually work and light up the face of your wonderful goth queen, your model of love, the one who is just purely amazing in every single way, then you secure it all. You add her nostrils back. then you start designing the rest of it. So I'm going to put Mia Moore right here as a place to click, and kind of cover it with hearts and little exclamations. That way, hopefully you get the idea of knowing to click it there. I could have just put press here, but I didn't want to, so I didn't. Then I found some quotes that were perfect for Valentine's Day.
Some scrappy gothy love for you. To live without you, only that would be torture. Gomez. A day alone, only that would be death. Morticia. To AJ. Love, Olivia. So beautiful.